In de popmuziek is op dit moment sprake van een Welsh Wave, want veel populaire Britse bands komen vandaag de dag uit Wales. Voor Lola Da Musica een goede reden om naar Wales af te reizen om daar de stand van zaken op te nemen.
The music.
In some cultures it's frowned upon to be, you know, singing and drunk. But in Wales it's about seen as this mysterious way of having a, you know, good time.
Being Welsh is not to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Poetry in your heart and music in your soul. And that's what being Welsh is.
There's loads of bands that won't sing in English. They won't sing in English on principle, you know. They're nationalists, you know.
With all these Welsh bands now, it's important that people don't dwell too much on the fact that it's Welsh and that they don't fly too many flags, you know, because I think it's counterproductive and it can lead to xenophobia, you know.
Sit down.
Wysteg cutting tea, which means tea bag, but they made a mistake in the translation and actually means cutting also means scrotum. So it's like itty tea scrotums. So it's very obscene. Ah, you see John Cale, he's probably the biggest Welsh hero, because he's a fluent Welsh speaker as well. But he moved to New York in the 60s and hasn't ever been back. But when I was about 13, I heard that for the first time, and it was and had the gift. And see the colour in? See the colour of them now? See?
It is now mid-August.
Because that's the Welsh accent, yeah?
Marsha for more than 2 months. 2 months, one little show, 3 doggy Atlantas, and 2 very expensive long-distance phone calls.
So, I was John Cale, so when I was 13, I put this record on. Someone had left it around the house. And I thought it was, I thought it was like, a Welsh band, you know. I thought they were a Welsh punk band from the Valleys, you know. I didn't know they were from New York. So I got into New York junkie music by accident. And I suppose it was quite life-changing. It's a bardic chair. You have bardic competitions in every village in Wales. It's a type of verse written in a very strict meter, very mathematical way. And the winner of each Eisteddfod, which is like a competition, wins a chair. And it's very dramatic. Sits down on a stage, triumphantly, on the chair. And they have these young girls to do a dance around the winning bird. And they have druids behind on the stage. And the arch-druid and his friend have a big sword above their heads. And they pull down the sword and they ask the audience, is there peace? And the audience shouts, peace. And all just heddwch. And the idea is if they don't shout peace back, they chop the head off the bird. This is my favourite Welsh song. From 1970.
Where is he now?
He's around Cardiff somewhere. He still plays. He's more into sort of rhythm and blues. Yeah. He sings the blues.
Still singing now?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
Never thought so.
Once or twice, yeah. He can be in strange moods, though. We tried to get him to play a gig once, and he turned up late and drunk, and he started shouting at us. And I was brought up in North Wales, in an area where English practically wasn't spoken. So I didn't need to use English, because I did all educations in Welsh because of the nature of the area. Do all the shopping in Welsh. You know, you get Welsh newspapers and magazines, Welsh language records. So it's an organic thing that when we sing in Welsh, it's just because that's our language. We make more people aware of the Welsh language even by singing in English, you know. Clarity just confuses me. The lines run on the map, the strangers unbelieve. When there's northerners and southerners, westerners and easterners, sunny days in January, left spaces in my diary. But the demons ever need to know what the demons ever got to see. As we fall in and out of rain, still a touch now far away. For the demons ever need to know what the demons ever got to see. As we fall in and out of rain, still a touch now far away. 'Cause I know that apathy only ruin me, hanging around waiting for calamity. And by the earth of billions, our skins will be vermilion. I own a bag of memories, so I'll forget any felony. The demons ever need to know what the demons ever got to see. As we fall in and out of rain, still touch now far away. For the demons ever need to know what the demons ever got to see. As we fall in and out of rain, still touch now far away. 'Cause I know that you know that we know they don't know what's going on. This is the Mike Stevens song, Broadasted, which is a very easy drinking song. La 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 la, la 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 la. Oh, mi buena raivana, porta a peta botelo curu. Oh, ma geni pres on my ugartes, soy papi mervedu. Alvin I methic well to mounting, mas a byd I chwerthin. Oh, dim ond fi, a brawd o dyn yn cerdded lan in y bryn. La la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Ar y telefon yn ceisio wneud ei ore, ond unai nethu gweld ti fewn ei mad, o'r byd a'i chwerthin, dim ond llun, a brawd nhw dyn ni'n cerdded lan i'r nefoedd pobi.
That's a big problem that you've got if you're singing in Welsh. Because especially if you're a rock band like the 30 Animals or something, it doesn't matter because it's just a wall of sound, you know. It's just of a typical kind of genre. But if you're singing like songs like I do, which is like communicative lyrics, you know, you're not communicating because nobody can understand what you're saying, you know. You know. It's funny. All the bands that came up during the rock and roll time in Wales, such as, you know, people like Dave Edmunds and Tom Jones and people like this, they all used to sing covers of American artists' songs, you see. I've always written my own stuff. A lot of people do think I'm a nationalist because I sing in Welsh, and they think, oh, if you sing in Welsh, you know, you're a nationalist, but it's not true. I've always spoken Welsh since I was born, you know. So it's just a natural thing for me to sing in Welsh anyway, you know. Oh, come on. Sailing wee boys in the garden, ooh, fundur in the barn. To my weddle Uncle Victor, well, Gwen on her hand guitar. With him bewing loud and square, oh, Bora with a crew draw on a dread. Bob can marry it and it my body, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey, Gwyn a move, a merched drew, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. When Mauro down at in happy, a faint or coromoi. Bishop here and Pigortane, where Victor and Craysoin. On Heno, Quebec, well the team. And guitar, a band clean. Uncle Victor and Golay or scene. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, Queen a move, a merched drew. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Kissy champagne te varo, in pronoun ar benny heen. Dim rabid na caruion, kinathe padros a fin. Will carroret with the clabroner, jazz or dueling, swing or dare, maestro D or tiger bay, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I certainly haven't made much money out of it, if money is credit. No, not much at all, you know. But it doesn't matter. I just enjoy playing. Just have fun, really. I guess I influenced a lot of musicians, yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I know I did. Yeah. Now they don't need my influence anymore. You know, they can do it themselves. You know. I went to see a Furry Animals gig, you know, and I walked in and they phoned me up in a restaurant in Aberystwyth and said, come to our gig, it's like a party. So I came down on the train and I went in and I see them in dressing room. I said, okay, who's got the drugs, you know? And they didn't have any drugs. I was absolutely amazed, you know. They didn't even have any weed, you know. And I went, oh shit, you know, what's going on around here, you know? I mean, you can't have some weed, you know. They didn't have any. They didn't have any at all. So I went home.
So which is it's a good beat to it. Yeah. So it's like this influences as much as music, you know, just the sounds of things that goes off in real life, you know. You know, you don't need music anymore. You know? This is a stock speaking. Wales is such a diverse place. Everyone's from different areas, you know, and speak a different language or whatever, you know. And but it's also such a small place. Everything's close together, so that there's no. I think everyone's quite supportive of each other, you know. And I don't think there's any room for egos, you know. So which is good. There's like I say musically we're probably very different to Catatonia, you know, but we used to share equipment with them, you know, and we used to share drummers and swap bassists and things, you know.
I met the members of my band the same time as I kind of met the guys from Furries. It was just because we were all used to drink in the same pub and, you know, go and watch new bands and, you know, bore everyone to death about music, and you just get to know each other then. And I used to busk in Cardiff as well, and just got writing, and then we were lucky enough to be able to put out a single on a small Welsh label, and that got attention in the London press. If all you've got to do today is find peace of mind, come round, you can take a piece of mine. And if all you've got to do today is hesitate, come here, you can leave it late with me. You could be taking it easy on yourself. You should be making it easy on yourself. 'Cause you and I know it's all over the friends page. You give me road rage, racing to the best days. It's up to you, boy, you're driving me crazy. Thinking you may be losing your mind. If all you've got to prove today is your innocence, calm down, you're as guilty as can be. You could be taking it easy on yourself. You should be making it easy on yourself. 'Cause you and I know it's all over the front page. You give me road rage, racing to the best days. It's up to you, boy, you're driving me crazy. Thinking you may be losing your mind. You're losing your mind. You've been racing to the best days. Space days, road days, fast days. And if all you've got to do today is find peace of mind. It's probably the most exciting time for Welsh contemporary music in contemporary music history of Wales, definitely, because previous to this there was never such a big wave of new bands. We had a band called The Alarm who did, you know, 68 Guns Will Never, which was brief, and then we had Amen Corner, which is, how did that song go? famous song in the 60s, and also Budgie, they're from Wales, and Lemmy from Motorhead. Is that right? Lemmy from Motorhead. Is he from Motorhead? Lemmy. Is that right? I've got such a bad thing about brain things going on. Yeah, and he's from Prestatyn in Wales. But I mean, it's just like now, seems to be like a huge glut of bands happening.
This is angst. This is our business like home. Hold on. I think Cardiff is quite open, you know. In this area, there must be about 5 different languages spoken on the street, do you know what I mean? You've got English, Bangladeshi, whatever, yeah, Chinese, Welsh, you know, etc., etc. And that's more normal than having an area with just one culture or one language. And I think it's important that people don't. That was horrible about things like Britpop, you know, because there's all these Union Jacks around and we're sort of celebrating a sort of monocultural musical scene, you know. It's very narrow-minded. Music shouldn't be seen as a sport, you know. When you go and see a football game, there's 2 teams opposing each other. When you go to a concert, even if it's a concert in a stadium, I mean, there's only one side, so it's much more positive than any sport. These were shown in the Victoria and Albert's Museum in London, because we were bought with square sleeves, you know. So these can be.
Yeah, 1600 or 1100.
Check that out.
Right.
Funny shape.
Yeah. Look.
Yeah.
Some old photos.
Yeah.
That was our 40-foot. This is the radiator. It's 15 metres high.
Yeah. But we're not going to make any effort,
And we held our own festivals in Cardiff with we put up a circus tent.
As a matter of fact, we needed 30 ends a day.
And we had 2
Right. Okay.
giant bears like that. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our tank.
Yeah, we need to do it.
We sold to Don Henley from the Eagles. Bought the tank, and he collects tanks. And he took it over to his ranch in California. He bought it for £10,000.
Yeah.
So. That's it again. We had the DJ booth inside. So Cian, Cian guitars to mix. Like. And there's our Sedwch, which is what they say in the ceremony when they give the bar the chair. Is the piece.
There's always been rock bands in Wales, you know, ever since I can remember. But the only difference was then to what it is now, they were always cover bands, you know, they were doing other people's material. As with the Beatles, you know, when the Beatles started, everybody went to Liverpool to look for more Beatles. But they were creating their own music, you see, which we were not doing in Wales. You know, great bands in Wales, but only doing other people's material. So the difference between then and now is these young Welsh bands are writing their own songs. They're creating their own material. And that's the big difference. The reason I got through is just because I have this big voice, you know, in the 60s, and there was nobody around like me then. You know, the group scene was very big, and so I was the only one that came along with this big voice.
I did a duet with a band called Space first, and that was a song about Tom Jones, where the song is a duet whereby the couple are fighting and they're going to kill each other or drive off a cliff, or just they really argue and fight and violent, and the only reason they don't end up killing each other is because Tom Jones keeps coming on the radio, or they keep flipping the tape on and they fall in love again.
What did I do wrong?
Oh, you nearly drove me cuckoo.
Am I really all that bad?
You're worse than Hannibal Lecter, Charlie Manson, Freddy Krueger.
Why are we still together?
Oh, I can't leave you till you're dead.
You mean till death do us part?
I mean like cyanide strangulation or an axe to your head.
It was lucky for us I turned the radio on.
They say that music soothes the savage beast.
There was something in that voice that stopped us here and there. The two of us would surely have ended up dead. You stopped us from killing each other. You'll never know, but you saved our lives.
I've never thrown my knickers at you.
And I don't come from Wales. Still haven't solved our
You
problem.
mean we hate each other's
Still
guts?
wanna poison your pizza.
And I still wanna cut off your nuts.
I phoned the marriage guidance.
I tied the phone line round your neck.
I'm sick of all this hatred.
Or that'll be the arsenic making you sick.
You were about to drive me over the edge of a cliff.
As I try to jump out and knock the stereo on.
You changed your mind and then slammed on the brakes. It was lucky for us we brought his greatest hit. You stopped us from killing each other. You'll never know.
Tom Jones had seen this video, and he really thought it was really funny, and then got in touch, within a few nights, and enjoyed a few, drinks with the man. Recently I've been singing with Tom Jones. It's an old standard that Ray Charles and Betty Carter did. God knows when, years and years and years ago. It's a lovely old song, and it's going to be out for Christmas here.
We got on very well together. We had some fun recording together. And she's a great singer.
He's still got a brilliant voice. So I like people who sing with a big, big voice.
In Wales, singing is a part of life. So you're always singing. So then you leave school and you start singing in pubs and clubs, and then there was a local band there called the Senators, which the singer didn't show up on Friday night, and they asked me if I would sing with them.
The old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to meet me is my mama and papa. Down the road I look, and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
It was good in Wales because it was a great training ground for singers. Because if you thought you could sing, there was so much competition with other singers that if you could get up and hold an audience, you knew that you could sing.
Clocks go by, red waves arrive, something ever rock
Stereophonics came to see me in Cardiff. They had a modern version of what I was like with my band when I started up in Wales. They had the same attitude. You know, they're fearless. They're very strong. They rehearse in the same pub that I used to rehearse in with my band in the early 60s. You know, when I had a rock band in Wales in the early 60s, and we used to rehearse in a pub in a place called Abercynon, and the name of the pub is the Thorn Hotel, and we used to use the top room to rehearse.
What makes you Welsh?
I think it's a lot to do with music. You know, it's because there's a being Welsh is not to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but to have. Oh my God! I wish I should have remembered this. Music in poetry in your heart and music in your soul. I think it is, or vice versa. But I mean, that's what being Welsh is.
I think it's only recently that people from England have really known that a place called Wales exists even, so, you know, or at least people are still shocked that there's a language, like a small language thing going on, and they're shocked that people like us speak it. Montepridd mae'n hariad, ym Montepridd mae'n mwriad, ym Montepridd mae merch fach lan, i'w chael